Ekspansi program ini dilakukan secara bertahap, mulai dari upaya mengubah masyarakat tidak berdaya menjadi berdaya, selanjutnya mandiri dan mengantarkannya menuju masyarakat madani. Pada tahun 2009, program lebih diarahkan dengan menggunakan pendekatan Integrated Community Driven Development atau ICDD yang mengintegrasikan kegiatan infrastruktur pemukiman, ekonomi dan sosial dalam rangka mendorong percepatan peningkatan ekonomi masyarakat. Sampai saat ini, program ICDD telah memberikan hasil sebagai berikut. Tersedianya jalan lingkungan di perkotaan yang memadai dengan total sepanjang 13.465 km. Fasilitas penerangan umum dengan total sebanyak 4.482 unit. Perbaikan jembatan dengan total 67 km. Fasilitas MCK dengan total sebanyak 6.109 unit. Jalur pipa air sepanjang 316 km. Jalur air limbah kanal sepanjang 225 km, fasilitas kesehatan sebanyak 2.556 unit, 560 unit renovasi bangunan sekolah, pemberian beasiswa sebanyak 26.376 untuk anak usia sekolah, serta renovasi 4.679 unit rumah. Strategi ICDD dilaksanakan melalui Badan Keswadayaan Masyarakat atau BKM yang memberikan manfaat peningkatan akses dan kualitas infrastruktur permukiman, keberdayaan di bidang ekonomi dan sosial, sehingga menjadikan masyarakat lebih mandiri yang berdampak pada percepatan ekonomi masyarakat. Upaya Direktorat Jenderal Cipta Karya Kementerian Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat dalam mengembangkan dan melaksanakan program ICDD, salah satunya melalui pelaksanaan program penataan lingkungan permukiman berbasis komunitas atau PLPBK dengan fokus pada penataan kawasan lingkungan permukiman di perkotaan. Fasilitas ICDD lainnya adalah pada kegiatan peningkatan penghidupan masyarakat berbasis komunitas atau PPMK dengan fokus penguatan kelembagaan dan jaringan usaha KSM. Di tingkat kota atau kabupaten dikembangkan program lanjutan dengan nama Pilot Business Development Center atau BDC. BDC merupakan simpul jaringan usaha dan sarana pengembangan KSM yang memfasilitasi pengembangan pemasaran, produksi, sumber daya manusia, pembiayaan, serta menjadi penghubung usaha dalam pengembangan ekonomi lokal. Keberhasilan program ICDD tidak terlepas dari pendampingan konsultan dan keberadaan forum BKM dan komunitas belajar perkotaan yang menjembatani persoalan-persoalan di lapangan sekaligus menjadi media informasi untuk pemerintah daerah. Hal ini dapat dilihat dari telah munculnya kemitraan strategis antara pemerintah dan masyarakat. Mulai tahun 2016, program ICDD telah diintegrasikan sebagai salah satu pilar dari National Slum Upgrading Program atau NSUP yang dirancang untuk percepatan penanganan kawasan kumuh di perkotaan dengan mengedepankan peran pemerintah daerah sebagai nakoda dan masyarakat sebagai pelaku utama.
Alhamdulillah, pemasukan bertambah, keluarga tetap terperhatikan.
Imunisasi anak lebih dekat, gizi dan kesehatan anak jadi lebih terpantau.
MDK-nya bersih, tak perlu antri. Airnya banyak dan bersih.
Saya senang bisa tinggal di rumah yang nyaman.
Saya senang bisa sekolah lagi, berkumpul bersama teman-teman, dan menuntut ilmu demi masa depan.
Kami bisa bersekolah lagi. Hore!
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Indeed, mashallah, very impressive and really heart-touching. You know, this is what really makes project funding really very much appreciated, and may Allah bless all these efforts. So to tell us more about this project, may I invite Mr. Eddie Khadiat from the Ministry of Public Works. So please just be very brief on the lessons learned and what are the takeaways.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is an honor to our Ministry, Public Work and Housing, to be given the opportunity sharing the stories how we together with IDB assisting the community to do development process so they can have a better access in alleviating poverty. After you see the video, now I will present to you about ICDD program, continue with the brief information about the CDD we do with the IDB. Next slide, please. Next. So as development approach, the Directorate General of Housing Settlement has been implemented community-based development in all sectors. There are 5 community-based programs. They are National Community Empowerment Program, Urban for Poverty Alleviation, and then Sanimas for Sanitation, Pansimas and RISE for Rural Development, and then Neighborhood Urban Settlement Program for the Urban Slum. And the ICDD supporting the NCAP Urban start from 2009 until now. Next. So, Directorate General of Human Settlement, Ministry of Public Works has implemented urban poverty project since 1999, and then at 2007 the program became one of the national community empowerment program for urban areas as an umbrella program. The Islamic Development Bank has been supporting NCAP urban through the Integrated Community Driven Development or ICDD program since 2009 and up to now. NCAP urban covered 34 provinces, 269 cities and 11,067 kelurahan, while the ICD covered 14 provinces, 100 cities and 4,440 kelurahan. Next. We do continue learning process in this program. We learn from bad practice to do good practice, and we share the good practice, and in the process we acknowledge the key factors that make this program can bring benefit to its beneficiaries. They are competency of PMU or PIU in every level in the national, province, and the cities is the main factor to success of ICDD. The program principle based on from, by, and for the community encourage active participation on CDD program. Community sense of belonging on ICDD and its result increase community contribution and sustainability. And then high support of local government is the key factor to success sustainability program. Comprehensive monitoring, evaluation, and financial audit in every level to guarantee the fund disbursement and utilization and avoid misuse of fund. As part of learning process and in order to help us doing this program in a good manner, we did evaluation independently. We also provide report and about progress or program. And according to the project completion report, PCR, ICDD 1 and ICDD 2, and impact evaluation of ICDD 1 and ICDD 2, the result impact among others is fulfillment of the infrastructure requirement of the poorest area in up to 75.5% with 97% good quality and 36.8% cheaper compared to ones built by the third parties. And then the number of direct laborers in infrastructure activities are 1.5 million people. Level of women participation is up to 46.5%. Village Community or BKM Financial Report, fiscal year 2014, audited by Public Accounting Auditor shows 92.2% unqualified opinion. And then IDB project performance index is highly satisfactory, scored by 3.74 in scale of 5 or 4. Whole process of the program become tools of to learn, and we enhance the program based on this lesson learned. Is among them is capacity building for facilitator need implementation continuously, and then BKM should be supported by comprehensive capacity building related with infrastructure, social and economic, customized capacity building training needed for livelihood enhancement program, ensure that the BKM and community have operational and maintenance plan and institutional, improve rule and tasks of the operational and maintenance institution by capacity building, dispelling misconceptions that revolving funds are for loans and no grants. We will continue cooperation with the IDB in a new program with the new platform. Besides this new program, ICD has been expanded and replicate as follows. That ICD launched at the first time at the mean for fund reallocation of Aceh Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Program to poverty reduction program of Director General of Housing through ICDD. Government of Indonesia has set policy to scale up ICDD through phase 2 and phase 3 until 2016. And then the Directorate General of Human Settlement has replicated ICDD concept into community-based sanitation program or SANIMAS. And then the Directorate General of Human Settlement has determined expansion of ICDD as a program platform of slum upgrading acceleration and movement 100-0-100 through Neighborhood Slum Upgrading Program or NSUP. Or City Without Slum, or in Indonesia is Kotaku, with a period of 2016 to until 2020. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now the second success story is from Turkey, and it's about the renewable energy program. So let us watch the video.
In recent years, Turkey has dramatically stepped up its efforts to develop its own renewable resources. Therefore, in order to support Turkey's energy targets, the Islamic Development Bank started its Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Program in Turkey. Between 2012 and 2015, 4 renewable energy projects and 6 energy efficiency projects were supported under the program. These 10 projects include 2 hydropower plants, 1 solar power plant, 1 wind power plant, 3 energy efficiency projects in cement factories, and another 3 energy efficiency projects in steel factories. The combined impact of these projects greatly exceeded the initial targets. The renewable energy plants have the capacity to provide 370 megawatts, far exceeding the target of 150 megawatts. The combined cost of these 10 projects was more than $640 million US, with the Islamic Development Bank providing $100 million through restricted Mudharaba financing. Indeed, this financing mode was specifically developed and used for this facility to enable the implementation of a programmatic and thematic approach. Under a Mudharaba mode of financing, a Rab al-Mal, in other words the capital provider, provides financing to a Mudarib, also known as the investor of funds, to invest in specific projects in certain pre-identified business sectors, which in this case are renewable energy and energy efficiency. This approach eliminated the need for the Islamic Development Bank to enter into individual financing agreements for each sub-project. It also gave a lot of freedom to TSKB as the local executing agency, in effect the Mudarrib, for example to use its own procedures for appraisal, quality assessment and risk assessment, as well as complying with its own procurement rules for purchased goods and services under the projects. Under this facility, the Islamic Development Bank worked through a local implementing partner, the Industrial Development Bank of Turkey, also known as TSKB. TSKB is one of Turkey's leading development and investment banks, and was the first bank to finance renewable energy projects in the country.
In order to ensure a smooth implementation of the restricted Mudaraba facility, it was extremely important to partner with TSKB, relying on its local knowledge, sector expertise, as well as strong implementation and monitoring capacity.
In this facility, TSKB used their extensive knowledge of Turkey's energy sector to identify a pipeline of suitable and high-quality projects.
Thanks to our counterpart, IDB here, we were able to expand the scope of the line in order to include large-scale hydros and small-scale energy efficiency projects with a very wide spectrum.
So, what were the main success factors behind this program? TSKB has immense experience in selecting and supporting renewable energy and energy efficiency projects. The restricted Mudaraba mode of financing, pioneered by the Islamic Development Bank in this project, is highly suitable for Turkey and enabled the money to reach beneficiaries quickly. Many projects under the facility provided quick economic gains for the beneficiaries. This portfolio-based facility approach helped to secure a further $425 million of co-financing from other donors, achieving a greater overall development impact. More renewable energy and energy efficiency projects are now needed for Turkey to strengthen its energy sector further. Building on such success stories, Turkey can look forward to a cleaner, more secure and efficient energy future.
Very impressive for a promising future, inshallah, especially in the field of energy, very critical. So to tell us more about this, let us invite Mr. Burak Aguk, the Executive Vice President in the Industrial Development Bank of Turkey.
Good afternoon, and thank you. Let me first say that we are very grateful for the opportunity to represent our bank and its operations here. Industrial Development Bank of Turkey, or TSKB as we call it in Turkish, was founded back in 1950, and it is actually a privately owned development bank, and its main shareholder is still İşbank, one of the leading commercial banks in Turkey. And since its foundation, the bank funded itself from prominent development finance institutions such as the World Bank and the European Investment Bank. And the main focus of its operations were actually collided with the priorities of Turkish economy, as we will shortly going to see. Sustainability has become a major topic in our bank's operation from late 80s onwards. And here we can see the achievements under the heading of sustainability that the bank actually has scored. But more importantly, what I would like to share with you here today is the environmental risk evaluation tool that we call IRED, which we have incorporated in our credit evaluation system in late 80s. This is a very detailed environmental and social analysis of the project we are going to finance. And as a result of this detailed economic and social analysis, we can say that we are going to finance the project under certain conditions, or we can say, although the project seems to be very profitable and almost excellent in other areas, we can say that we are not going to finance this project based on our environmental and social concerns. So this is indispensable to our credit operations, and this is carried out by the technical staff that we have in our bank. The technical staff consists of engineers, economists, and financial analysts, which actually prepare the project evaluation report, and based on this report, we actually give our decisions to go on and finance a project or not to finance a project. For the last 10 to 15 years, the main field of operation has become renewable energy, because Turkey has actually decided to promote renewable energy resources, and in 2003 and 2004 issued some incentive mechanisms to actually give price and purchase guarantees to renewable energy projects. As a result of this, we began to finance those projects, and so far we have financed more than 130 projects. The bulk of them went to hydro projects, but lately we are providing financing to wind power projects, solar projects, and biomass projects. The total cost of those projects is roughly $8 billion, and we have committed $2.9 billion to those projects for the last 10 to 15 years. And more than half of those projects we have worked with other commercial banks, and hence we have provided co-financing to those projects. We are not a very big bank, a big-scale bank. Our total assets are just over $7 billion, and total loan book is about $5 billion. So these figures are quite important for our bank's operations. Now, the general capacity has reached 4.1 megawatts as the projects we have financed, and this is approximately or roughly 13% of the installed capacity of Turkey so far. Another field of operation for the past 5 years has been energy efficiency. And although energy efficiency projects are harder to identify and promote, for the last 5 years we have financed more than 60 projects, and the project cost is about $1 billion, and we have provided more than $400 million to those projects. As a result of this, we have actually saved energy enough to heat a 1.5 million household, which is quite a large city, and are providing financing to those projects will definitely increase this figure. Now, given this experience, we began to negotiate with IDB in 2010 and 11, and we came up with first restricted mudaraba, whereby we were able to actually combine energy efficiency and renewable energy projects under the same heading. And the first restricted mudaraba was launched in December 2012, and shortly afterwards it was completely utilized. The amount was $100 million. And then 1 year later we launched a second restricted mudaraba, which was $220 million, and this is almost complete, fully committed, and the utilization will be completed pretty soon. As a result of the first mudaraba, we were able to provide financing to renewable energy projects as well as energy efficiency projects, and the total project's cost, as we just saw, was $640 million, a total of 10 projects. And geographically, we can say the energy efficiency projects generally came from the western part of Turkey, and the renewable energy projects came from the eastern part of Turkey, but that was a rather homogeneous breakdown, as we can say it was geographically it was a homogeneous breakdown. Now, the importance of working with IDB to us, with IDB we were able to incorporate all the aspects of renewable energy and energy efficiency issues under the same framework, and therefore we were able to provide a diversified number of projects, and the utilization was pretty fast. That was the case with the first restricted Mudaraba, and that was the case with the second restricted Mudaraba. Now we are negotiating a third financing framework, and hopefully we will conclude the negotiations this year. And with the support of Turkish Treasury, we will be providing financing to vital renewable energy and energy efficiency projects, and some new topics like resource efficiency and material efficiency projects in Turkey pretty soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May Allah bless all these efforts, and wish you all the best for the Industrial Bank in this promising field. So to move on to the last session on the role of the Global Partnership on Effective Development Cooperation in facilitating the implementation of the SDGs. Again, if a picture worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000 words. So let's watch a short video.
(2015), the year the Millennium Development Goals expire and the Sustainable Development Goals are launched. Our task: poverty eradication. Our means include the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, a great diversity of stakeholders coming together to achieve maximum quality and impact in development cooperation for the people and the planet. With this in mind, on April 15th and 16th, 2014, we reaffirmed our commitment to development effectiveness at the first high-level meeting of the partnership, held in Mexico with over 1,700 delegates from 152 countries. Ministers, the private sector, civil society, foundations, international organizations, parliamentarians, development banks, local governments, those who provide cooperation, those who receive it, those who provide and receive it, together as equal partners, focusing on 5 main themes. 1. We underlined the 4 principles of effective development cooperation: to achieve transformative results, to let recipient countries set their own strategies, to include all relevant stakeholders, to promote transparency and mutual accountability. We committed to accelerate progress. 2. Domestic resource mobilization. We focused on achieving effective taxation, establishing progressive structures, combating corruption, and achieving concrete development results. 3. we agreed that middle-income countries have an important role to play, and we stressed the need to take into consideration their diverse needs and their many different realities. 4. New and emerging forms of development cooperation like South-South cooperation, triangular cooperation, multi-stakeholder partnerships, and knowledge sharing are ever more important as a valuable complement to what is known as traditional cooperation through the complementarity of comparative strengths and capacities. 5. We promote that businesses become partners in development through adequate incentives and regulation, facilitating inclusive economic growth, decent job creation, productivity, and innovation when it contributes to sustainable development. These efforts changed the conversation and serve as crucial stepping stones in the implementation of a 2030 agenda for sustainable development that achieves real change. We've achieved a consensus. We can turn effective and meaningful cooperation into tangible well-being through multiple and diverse partnerships and in the spirit of mutual respect and mutual benefit. We can go further by going together, by striving to achieve maximum quality and impact in development for the people and the planet.
Thank you. So to tell us about the role of the private sector contribution in the development of Malaysia and the role it can play in the implementation of the SDGs, let me invite Madam Dato Siti Zawiya, the Deputy Secretary General in the Ministry of Finance.
Thank you, Brother Hariri. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First and foremost, my apologies for not providing any slides because my participation in this session was only decided at the very last minute. Anyway, I'm happy to actually share Malaysia's experiences in how we get the private sector parties to play a development role in Malaysia, and at the same time, how do we get them to actually play the part in implementing SDGs. Now, no private sector wants to sacrifice their profit in order to achieve SDGs, because simply achieving sustainable growth is very expensive, it's costly. But let me take you through the history of Malaysia driving the private sectors to actually drive the economy of the country. Now, in 1981, Malaysia Incorporated was propounded by our Prime Minister. The objective was actually to expedite national development agenda, and we believe that government should not be involved in the business. We let the private sector run the business, and we will provide the policies that will facilitate the private sectors. At the same time, we corporatize and we privatize certain government agencies, and they are supposed to drive the economy, and among others, the government departments that we privatize and corporatize are the Electricity Board, the telecoms, a few of the examples. At the same time, we also established MOF Incorporated, that is a government-owned companies, 100% owned by the Minister of Finance, and we also established what we call the government-linked investment companies. Now, these are actually funds institution, the likes of Employee Provident Fund, pension funds, pilgrims, Hajj funds, armed forces funds, there's quite a number, and they becomes the key shareholders of these government-linked companies. Now, we also establish the companies to address market gaps in areas or sectors where private sectors will not want to venture. For example, in transportation, because transportation is not really a profitable operation. And in 1983, we further on proceed to establish the privatization policy, where we get the we formed the public-private partnership between private sectors and the federal government as well. What we wanted to do was to encourage private sector to invest in government projects for the country's development. The government will provide what we call the facilitation fund in order to finance basic infrastructure. For example, in transportation, the acquisition of land throughout the cities will be undertaken by the government. Now, the examples of successes in our PPP project is the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, the Port of Tanjung Pelepas, which is now a great competitor to Singapore ports, the light rail transit, now embarking on the mass rapid transit to cater for the transportation within the city of Kuala Lumpur. These are a few of examples, and of course the first PPP project, which is a great success to Malaysia, is the what we call the North-South Highway that links up, all areas within the north and southern part of the eastern part of Malaysia. In the western part of Malaysia. Our latest project is what we call the Pan-Borneo Highway, which will link from the state of Sabah and Sarawak in the eastern part of Malaysia. Now, in 2005, we decided to do some transformation of our GLCs and GLIC, which we call GLICs. The reason being is that we want them to focus on high performance, and that is when that we wanted them to also play the role of nation building. Now, that was a time when we actually get the companies that are owned by the government to embrace the concept of sustainable development. So we actually started very much earlier, although at that time, it was not as being listed as under the SDGs. And we also wanted to, the transformation program was also to institute good governance among all the GLICs and GLCs. Through our process, for the last 10 years, we have managed to actually increase the net worth of our GLCs by 3 times in just a matter of a decade. Now, the objective of the transforming the GLCs are actually to expedite development and also to build the economic linkage between the public and private, so that the GLCs became the main service provider to the nation in key services, example utilities, as I said just now, telecoms, postal services, airlines, airports, public transport, to name a few, banking as well, and financial. Now, in 2011, during the 10th Malaysia Plan, we introduced what we call the new economic model. The idea was actually to transform Malaysia towards a high-income economy, which is inclusive and sustainable. There are 3 pillars under this new economic model. First, we aim to achieve a GDP per capita of $15,000. Second, we wanted to have an inclusive growth whereby all communities will benefit from the wealth of the country. Now, our focus especially is to look at what we call the bottom 40 of the population. That is the group of civilians that have, or the citizens having a salary of less than 3,000 ringgit Malaysia per month, and to provide equitable opportunities to this group. And we also focus on sustainability to ensure that, whatever that we plan for today, it will meet the present needs without compromising future generations. Under sustainable program, we focus on reducing our fiscal deficit. Our fiscal deficit after the financial crisis was at negative 6.7%. But we have managed to reduce it as of last year to 3.2%. It was a very great achievement for Malaysia.
and we also reduce the dependency on natural resources. Oil and gas used to be one of our key revenue generation. In 2009, 40% of our income was actually from the oil-related revenue, but now we have reduced it to 21.5% as of last year. And it's important that, you know, we focus on environment. We are committed to achieve a reduction in carbon emission by 40% by the year 2020. Now, sustainability, in order to assess our effectiveness in our new economic model, we establish KPIs and also national key result areas. We have a high-level steering committee that's chaired by the Prime Minister, and we have key ministers sitting in the steering committee, and also we have industry and market players to sit in that committee. At the same time, there are also working committees also chaired by the Prime Minister, namely what we call Pemuda, to facilitate ease of doing business, and the other committee is the Pemandu, which is a performance delivery unit, also chaired by the Prime Minister, to look into high performance in all sectors and to give to balance between economic and social development. At the same time, as of 2014, we established what we call the Fiscal Policy Committee, whereby we find that, you know, trying to achieve fiscal balance is important to actually increase the rating of Malaysia so that we can borrow from the market at a very cheap cost, at a low interest rate. We have undertaken a lot of transformation in the government sector. We are in the process of trying to downsize our civil service. At the same time, we have done a lot of interventions in trying to deepen our capital market. And we are, alhamdulillah, we are proud to say that, you know, we can finance projects in the country without having to rely on any external debt. To that extent, we naturally hedge ourselves, and we were able to, in fact, achieve a low interest rate such that, you know, external commercial, foreign commercial banks have problems even to offer their loans to us, because up till now we have been very competitive in our interest rates. Those are a few. There's a lot that I want to talk about. You know, how we go about, especially having financial inclusions to the lower income group. We have a lot of programs like entrepreneurship, doing business electronically, and we have restarted, roll out the program since last year, and we are already seeing the results and the numbers. There are a lot of women, you know, who can work from home, and they can generate a decent income, you know, without having to go to any office. So that is what we want to achieve. Well, these are a few things that I wish to highlight about what Malaysia has done to ensure that the private sector play their role. But there's another issue also. How do we really get this really private sector to be part of the development agenda in achieving sustainability? What we did was that we give tax exemptions, especially on green technologies. Now the government will provide guarantees to commercial banks if they were to finance green technology. And there are also tax incentive for the production of electric vehicles, to name a few. Actually, I have a long list, but I'm not going to bore you. You have been listening to so many talks since 1:30. So these are the things that we have done, and feel free to actually Google the jobs or the work that has been done by our respective ministries in trying to achieve sustainable economic growth. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siti Zawiya, for sharing the experience. Really, for those of you who visited Malaysia, can really appreciate the role of the private sector. I had the pleasure of living there for 5 years as the former director of the regional office, IDB, and I've seen quite close hand, how effective the role of the private sector, in the industry, in the highways, the manufacturing, all really very effective. So congratulations, and I'm sure you will meet the SDGs. And thank you also for sharing on the empowerment of women, and you are a prime example here. Thank you very much. So finally, to shed light on the role of the coordination group in supporting the efforts of the developing countries to meet the SDGs, let us invite Mr. Fuad Al-Bassam, the Assistant Director General of OPIC Fund. Please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I first say a few words on the Arab National Development Institution, the Islamic Development Bank, and OFID, the OPIC Fund for International Development, which we call the Coordination Group, or CG. No doubt that I will be echoing the summary description made by His Excellency, the President of the Islamic Development Bank, and Mr. Saati, Director of Programs, who spoke before me. What I would say here, I would also like to say a few words on the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, which was also introduced by His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Netherlands, as a co-chair of the GPEDC. The GPEDC as an initiative or as an institution which is playing an active role in making the international cooperation better recognized and more effective. The 10 major institutions of the group, of the coordination group and their affiliates, have been in the development arena for 40 or 50 years for some of them, serving mostly low and lower income countries and lower middle income countries. Since their inception and throughout their corporate life, the coordination group institutions have worked together, drawing from the development philosophy of their own common owners and aligning with the development priorities of their partner countries. Also, with the time, each institution of the group has developed its own footprint, forming a special and long-lasting relationship with its partners. Working jointly or in coordination, the institutions of the group have gained a reputation for consistency and dependability, which add value to their operations. In the process, we believe that we have demonstrated a dedication to the universal principles of international solidarity and to the standards of transnational cooperation. As could be drawn from this brief narrative, the coordination group institutions have been operating all over the world, effectively in over 130 developing countries. This broad geographical exposure is enhanced by an equally broad exposure to a variety of development paradigm and sectorial specifics. In this context, we believe that the coordination group compares favorably with the regional development banks in terms of volumes of commitments and quality of results. Indeed, many of these banks or many of our coordination group programs are undertaken in partnership with these banks. African Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, the World Bank, and others. Today, the coordination group institutions enjoy strong relationship with their partner countries and share a reciprocal commitment to long-term cooperation. These have been facilitated by the natural empathy of the coordination group with the needs of the developing countries and a track record which has withstood the test of time. They are also facilitated by the coordination group recognition of and support for such concerns as gender equality, youth employment, private sector mobilization, trade facilitation, and environment protection. Undoubtedly, the formal inclusion of these concerns in the working practices of the coordination group institution makes the CG model more pertinent and more responsive to the transformational aspiration of the post-2015 development agenda and the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the coordination group is fully committed to cooperation, which is indeed at the root of its working model. Throughout, the CG has recognized and advocated the need for cooperation to be based on country-driven principles and country-aligned implementation mechanisms. The group built hope on the Monterey Consensus, which continue to be a reference, and the group adhered to the objective of Rome, Paris, and Accra Declaration. In Busan, Korea, the CG supported a shift of emphasis from aid effectiveness to the broader concept of development effectiveness. The CG is now represented in the steering committee of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, GPEDC, which resulted from the Busan Agreement and is associated with the United Nations Development Cooperation Forum, DCF. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the international community has adopted a new development agenda, transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which emphasizes, in our reading, 4 features. First, country and global inclusiveness. Second, transformational objective measured by 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Third, a strong contract of partnership and cooperation. And fourth, a model of financing built on greater use of domestic resources and the mobilization of national and transnational private resources. The heads of our institutions, the policy-making body of the coordination group, have formally reviewed the process that led to the definition of the agenda and its approval process. They issued a declaration, which is called the Coordination Group and the 2030 Agenda, in which they pledge the contribution of the Coordination Group. They commit particularly to supporting the nationally defined SDGs and programs for institution building. At global level, they commit to international cooperation and effective partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking forward to the GPEDC second high-level meeting, and we encourage all ISDB member countries, our partner countries, to help define a new mission for the GPEDC and contribute to the success of the Nairobi high-level meeting. The GPEDC will reposition itself to reflect the assumption of the 2030 Agenda and the principle of the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. Working along the United Nations DCF, the GPEDC will continue seeking, promoting, and evaluating the quality and the impact of development cooperation. As members of the steering committee of the coordination of the GPEDC, the coordination group is highly supportive of the GPEDC and its repositioning in the context of the new development agenda. The CG is particularly supportive of an open and continuous dialogue with countries and institutions to note difficulties and measure progress. The coordination group has been active in the preparation of the ongoing second monitoring report exercise. Plans are being developed for the CG to contribute to organization of the Nairobi meeting, and the discussion of the final outcome of that meeting. I appreciate your comment and your guidance, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fuad, for shedding the light on the role of the coordination group in this very ambitious efforts. So we come to the closing session. Before the closing remark, there is a chance for any comments, any questions to be addressed to the panel. Anybody, please come forward. I know it's time getting late as we are approaching the opening ceremony in a couple of hours. So thank you very much to all the panel members, and join me in a round of applause. May I now invite His Excellency the Vice President Operation of the Islamic Development Bank to give the closing remark.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellencies, IDB governors and board members here present, respected representatives of the coordinating group, institutions, and our co-host, the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation, honorable delegates, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. First of all, let me thank our esteemed host, Excellency Mr. Bambang Brojonegoro, Minister of Finance, Government of Indonesia, for joining us to inaugurate the seminar. My special thanks also go to Mr. Rob Swartbol, Ambassador of the Netherlands in Indonesia, for his participation and for delivering the keynote address on the behalf of the Minister of International Trade and Development Cooperation of the Netherlands, co-chair of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation. I'm grateful to my colleagues of the coordination group for their contributions and participation in this seminar. And I would also like to thank speakers for sharing country experiences and the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation support for sustainable development goals, as well as speakers who made presentations on success stories. The seminar deliberated on the implementation of sustainable development goals and the climate change agenda, focusing more specifically on 4 critical themes. First, the coordination group's contribution to development across the world, especially in South and Southeast Asia region. And second, the needs and priorities of the partner countries towards further enhancing development cooperation. Third, the role of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation in enhancing development cooperation. And fourth, the role of the GPEDC and the coordination group, that the role they can play in effectively realizing the sustainable development goals. I'm happy to note that the coordination group has set a remarkable example of effective donor coordination and harmonization. We welcome its commitment to continue to ensure that its financing delivers sustainable development across all regions, and we're also delighted by its interest in remaining an active partner in the GPEDC and its willingness to continue to play an active role, especially in the forthcoming second high-level meeting of GPEDC to be held in Nairobi, Kenya. You will agree with me that the seminar is deliberated on issues of utmost importance to developing countries, especially following the adoption of the post-2015 development agenda. And I think there are a couple of themes that came out of this. First, really an appreciation that the post-2015 development agenda is a more holistic, ambitious, and transformative agenda encompassing both economic